We've covered leaning in to get ahead at work or opting out to take care of things at home. But another option can find a happy medium at work, home, and in the bedroom. It comes from Debora Spar. She's the president of the all-women's Barnard College and one of the youngest female professors to be tenured at Harvard Business School. She's also a wife and mother, and her new book is called Wonder Women: Sex, Power, and the Quest for Perfection. I think the cover says it all. Yeah. Debora Spar, good to see you.
Pleasure, thanks.
Why did you write this book?
I wrote this book somewhat by accident. I was at Harvard Business School at the time I started thinking about it, and I sort of realized that as I was getting older and I was sort of advancing in my career, that I was seeing fewer and fewer women, that a lot of my friends from college and graduate school had sort of fallen out of the workplace. And I just realized that women's lives were much more complicated than men's, and that many of the things I had grown up believing would be easy to accomplish were in fact just much harder.
Why do you think they'd fallen out of the workplace?
Because it's hard. You know, I think women of my generation sort of grew up believing, mistakenly, that we could have it all, that we could do everything, and that it would all come to us without that much struggle. And I think as we got older, we realized not that it was impossible, but just that trying to have a career and a family and do everything else we're expected to do is tougher than we thought.
You know, the book was incredibly, I mean, you're obviously brilliant, and it was incredibly well written, but you bring up this commercial that I used to sing as a kid, the Charlie commercial, yes, you know, the Chanel commercial, yeah. You know, I can bring him the bacon, fry it up in a pan, never let you forget
he's your man. Never let you forget you're a man.
I mean, you
never forget you're a man, Charlie.
What are those, and you also point out too, I mean, the largest toy line at Disney is the princess line. What does that do? What does that say?
Well, I think what we're still experiencing today, 50 years after the sexual and feminist revolutions, is that young girls grow up with this very confused set of expectations. That they grow up believing that they should be beautiful like princesses, but that they can also be astronauts, and that they should play soccer, but never let the boys know how smart they are. So I think we're piling on all these expectations. The good news is that girls and women do believe they can do whatever they want. The bad news is that they somehow think they have to be everything and do it all perfectly.
And release the guilt. You know, I like so much that you even referred to the question, can women have it all, as maddening. Because I too, I'm sort of sick of that question. And I like what you said in your book. You talk about the messiness of women's lives in a way I haven't heard. Having kids, you say, is a full-time 20-year undertaking. It's not a short-time assignment. Expect to be totally exhausted chaos. And this is what I like. Stop feeling guilty for letting the madness happen.
Because, you know, any woman who has kids and a job or just kids knows life is chaotic and it's messy. And I think we have to just embrace that and not beat ourselves up when, you know, we drop things, because inevitably, if you're trying to juggle too many balls, you're going to drop some of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what should we be doing, men?
I think a critical part of this is bringing men into the equation. You know, one of the things that I think we've gotten wrong over the years is that women go off into a corner by themselves and complain. They meet in women's groups and women's networks. I think most men today really want women to succeed. They want to see women in their organizations. They want to see their daughters succeed. So we need to bring men into the conversation without being angry and just say, look, these are the problems we're having. Here's some ways that, you know, we can actually work together to make it better.
Because it isn't going to work unless you include men. I mean, you point out that women make up 50% of the population, but far less than 50% of the decision-making process in most companies. Right. And that you really do need to include men, and men want to be included.
I really think they do, but I think men feel awkward initiating the conversation. So I think the burden is on women to say, look, I know you want to help. Here's some things that would be useful.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you. Wonder Woman goes on sale today.